South Africa's Police Minister Senzo Mchunu's decision to hastily disband the Political Killings Task Team has come under the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission, a commission that was set up by President Cyril Ramaphosa to investigate allegations of corruption in the police force. Minister Mchunu, who has been placed on leave of absence, is under cross-examination at the commission. This for his decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team, or the PKTT. Many witnesses have criticized Mchunu's decision, which they have described as outside his jurisdiction. He has also been accused of having close links with members of alleged criminal cartels. Sibahle Mota filed this report.
Chairperson Justice Vusimuzi Madlanga has questioned why Mchunu made a hasty decision in disbanding the Political Killings Task Team. Justice Madlanga also questioned why Mchunu did not consult with National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola. This is despite Mchunu claiming that he and Masemola have a good working relationship.
The PKTT is being praised at meetings of the Interministerial Committee, correct? Correct?
Yes, correct.
Correct. Now you are suggesting that because something had happened or had been said in the work study, therefore, senior management of SAPS must have expected that you could just drop what I will continue to call this bombshell.
Justice Madlanga also questioned Mchunu if the PKTT was the only task team that was disbanded. There are currently 10 police task teams in the country, but Mchunu told the commission that other task teams were established by General Fani Masemola.
Is there any other task team that you have disbanded?
There is a unit, not a task team, that we disbanded, the Police Inspectorate.
Talking about the task team, Minister. Is there any other task team that you have disbanded?
There is no other task team that we disbanded, because the only one that we could talk about was MPKTT, because the other ones were established by National Commissioner and they fell within his purview.
Earlier in his testimony, Mchunu cited various complaints that were brought against the PKTT. This includes alleged human rights abuses leveled against the unit. Mchunu testified that he received the complaints shortly after he was appointed as police minister in 2024.
These reports raise concerns about human rights abuses by members of the National Political Killings Task Team, among others. They raise concerns also around issues of governance, failures affecting various temporary and ad hoc task teams. And those included, but not limited to, the NPKTT. They were raising issues across SAPS, especially on task teams.
The police minister returns to the Madlanga Commission on Friday. I am Sibahle Mota in Pretoria.
South Africa's Madlanga Commission continues to reveal corruption in law enforcement, exposing failures in the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department and national structures. This week, suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Chief, or EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi, faced allegations of running a rogue SWAT unit and unlawful deals with Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, while Police Minister Senzo Mchunu was questioned over disbanding the National Political Killings Task Team without consulting SAPS, or South African Police Service leadership. To help us unpack the latest revelations, we'll be joined in a bit by Professor Sipho Seepe, who is a political analyst. But before we get to him, let's take a short break.
Conversations are happening, and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African perspective. A fresh morning, a fresh perspective. Stay tuned to Rise and Shine on Channel Africa.
So we're joined now by Professor Sipho Seepe, who's a political analyst, to help us unpack these latest revelations from the Madlanga Commission regarding misconduct in the EMPD, or Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, and the disbandment of the National Political Killings Task Team. Professor Seepe, how are you on this Friday? Always great having these chats.
No, I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me.
So what has stood out the most for you from these latest developments from the Commission, if we look at the latest revelations this week?
I think the appearance of the minister, or who's on leave, Senzo Mchunu, was sort of the highlight. And in a sense, it gave us the thinking of the minister, or lack of thinking around that. Effectively, what we're dealing with are two versions. The version of that was presented on the July the 6th by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, where he claimed that the entire criminal justice system has been infiltrated by crime syndicates and drug cartels, and that among those implicated or working with this are politicians. And in a sense, he sought to point out that the disestablishment or disbanding of the political killings task team by the Minister Mchunu was part of an attempt to frustrate the proper functioning of the justice system, in a sense, almost suggesting that some of these politicians were in cahoots or protecting these criminals. So for Mr. Mchunu, he had to explain to the commission why he decided to disband or disestablish this task team that was seen by the interministerial committee for a number of years to be performing very well. At the time of choosing to disband, there were glowing reports about their effectiveness. And this is why Justice Madlanga had to ask pertinent questions. And what emerged was a minister who initially appeared to be confident, but towards the end, he was the most evasive, and he presented an account that it was clearly not believable. He actually came out as somebody who lacks credibility. There were 4 particular questions that he was asked, and he was very weak in answering those. The first one was, if you're going to take a decision that is so consequential in terms of the operations of the South African Police Service, surely you would have consulted. And we know, as a matter of fact, that he did not consult the very people who were in the operational space. And Justice Madlanga was able to even question and quiz him around whether this was not encroaching into a space that is not his, and reminding him about what the Constitution says. So that was the first question that he was very weak in responding to say, why did you not consult people? And he did. We also know that even his deputies were surprised and also went to suggest that he could have handled this matter differently, which was really a very polite form of rebuke by them. So that was the first question. The second question that Mr. Mchunu was not able to respond to is why the haste. And then he started trying to give a new meaning of what immediately is. So even there, it became very clear that he could not account for his behavior in a manner that is consistent with the version that he's trying to present. The third one was the issue of why target only this particular task team. So it is not only about the timing, it's also around this particular task team. And it came around talking about some organogram, some work study, but the judge said, well, when that task team the work study was completed, it was 2019. And ever since, this task team, the political killing task team, mandate was continuously being renewed because of its effectiveness. So he found himself wanting in answering that question. So what we found here is a minister who seems to be at the wit's end to say, how can I account myself for having hastily ignored the advice, ignored the reports, and also failed to provide a coherent explanation why this particular task team, not all others.
On that, I mean, him failing to give an explanation, he did give somewhat of a reasoning. Mchunu disbanding the task team without consulting the SAPS leadership. How significant will his statement that these are the first corruption allegations against him be for his defense at the commission, do you think?
I think for anyone who had watched the proceedings yesterday, it is very clear that the minister has lost any form of credibility and believability. He has been unable to answer the most straightforward questions. And when he's asked a straightforward question, just like other people like Mkhwanazi, who's a brigadier in Ekurhuleni, when they ask questions, they want to go on telling the story. And Justice Madlanga has been very clear to say some of these questions require yes and no. And when they are pressed to answer whether something is yes or no, you find them very wanting. So I don't think even as he appears today, he will be able to recover from the dismal failure and performance that we saw yesterday.
The National Political Killings Task Team was singled out while 12 other task teams continued. How does this raise concerns about political interference and other governance issues?
Well, it serves to vindicate the statement that was made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi when he addressed both the Madlanga Commission and other committee that the disestablishment or disbanding of the political task team was because the task team was effective and was coming closer to exposing the shenanigans of politicians, the shenanigans of some in the correctional services, the shenanigans of some who are in the judiciary. So this commission has been very effective in exposing that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's assertions have a solid base and that they have a foundation. And the opposite version that is being presented has been found to be more like hogwash.
Mchunu has also been accused of having close links or close ties with members of alleged criminal cartels. We heard that earlier this week. And at the ad hoc committee, he's denied any link to Cat Matlala and also was saying that Brian Mkhwanazi is just a comrade and that he didn't ask anything from him. What does just a comrade mean to you? How do you unpack that? And does it not imply some sort of friendly relation?
Oh, it definitely does. And I think that's also part of his weakness in how he presented himself or the relationship that he has with Brian Mkhwanazi. But what is known is that from a political space, these comrades, they've been working together. And in a sense, when one goes back to the electoral politics of the ANC, you see that you have a minister with presidential ambitions. You have somebody like Mkhwanazi who seems to have been in the space of assisting. And also there, you also hear that these are the same people who may have worked tirelessly to ensure that President Ramaphosa wins the presidential candidacy of the ANC in 2017. So these submissions and revelations have far-reaching ramification in terms of who is who and who plays where, and also the role of money. So I don't think Mchunu has been able to sufficiently distance himself from the association with Brian Mkhwanazi, who has an association with somebody like Cat Matlala. But we also remember that it was Mchunu who decided to ask Cat Matlala, who's at the moment in prison to try to come up with a statement that they have not had any relationship. But I think as we proceed, there'll be something called follow the money, and it will somehow reveal the linkage between Brown Mokhotsi and Cat Matlala and Mchunu, and how these players are all implicated in ensuring that the presidential ambition of Mchunu is not thwarted.
Let's zoom into the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, part of the proceedings now at the Madlanga Commission, the EMPD. We heard of officials who ignored sexual abuse and misconduct in the Metro Police. Your take?
Well, I mean, this has been one of the weaknesses of the system, that when you have people who get positions because of favors, what often happens is that they create a very toxic environment. And that toxicity also involves people being promoted to positions that they don't deserve. It also means people also turning a blind eye to the misconduct that takes place, including the sexual harassment that we came to hear of. But all this simply suggests that you had a system or an administration, even at the local level, that was very dysfunctional.
Given that we are within the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, how important will it be that the Madlanga Commission definitely dissects this as much as it needs to be dissected, these allegations of these officials?
My sense is that the Madlanga Commission will focus on the narrow mandate it just given, whether the suggestion that the entire criminal justice system has been infiltrated, that the police as well as politicians are in cahoots with this, would be more their focus to say that suggestion or that assertion is sustained. And of course, they would probably make a recommendation that some of these allegations need to be further investigated.
It has also was touched on that senior officers were allegedly engaged in criminal deals under protection. Do we know how exactly this protection works and for how long it stays in place for those who benefit from it once they have this protection?
Well, if people are protected, they can do as they please. And for as long as the person protecting them is in a position of authority, then you can rest assured that it will continue unabated. But what would happen is that once the person goes, what you would have, the lid will be opened and all these skeletons will come crumbling out of the cupboards. And this is when the police as well as investigators will have to come in to simply say, how do we begin to clean this? Because what is important is that the system, governance, and the SAPS, they need to go through a process of restoration. And they cannot do that without all these things being exposed and being followed up.
What do you anticipate then from today as the Commission continues and Mchunu continues to take the stand? Your expectations versus whether you think they will be met or not?
My sense is that as of yesterday, nothing that Mchunu says will be taken as believable. Everything that he will say will be taken with a pinch of salt. That having lost credibility, and there will be other questions that he is going to be asked that is going to be very difficult for him to answer. But for now, I think those 4 questions that Justice Madlanga asked have been sufficient to actually say this is one witness whose version cannot be believed.
Professor Seepe, thank you so much again for your time. Have a great rest of your day.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's Professor Sipho Seepe sharing his insights on the Madlanga Commission. He's a political analyst joining us here on Rise and Shine quite regularly on this particular topic. I'm sure we'll get another update next week. It's day 42 of this Madlanga Commission. Can't believe it's been 42 days already, and that's where we are, and we continue to monitor those developments. Coming up on Rise and Shine, it's Friday, so we touch into the world of lifestyle, of the arts and entertainment that will be coming up later after the economics news with Nolutando. So stay tuned for that, keeping things light on a Friday. Right now, though, it's 8:30 Central African time, and let's get our news headlines. Here's Onele Nzinzi. Good morning.